Real quick video, Israel, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, great millstone, much salutations to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect most high will, to the hopeful extended elect, shalom, blessings. Getting right into it, we are the people of God concerning the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and this time it's about the elect. But also I want to make a point about certain things that point out that we are the people of God. You don't really have to do research and deep research and documentation for proof. Like they say, the proof is in the pudding. The proof shows through the spirit. And it says we're the salt of the earth. I look up that word salt and it says salt is what the food is seasoned and sacrifices are sprinkled. That key word is seasoned. Like seasoning, like you season your meat. So it's got to do with flavor, and I actually looked that up. But it's also a scripture that says if the loses salt. Wisdom and grace exhibit in speech. That's another form of it also. And it says you are the salt of the earth, talking about the Israelites. Matthew 5:10, you are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has lost his savor, now I looked up that word savor too. That savor is the same similar word to flavor. And my phone is messed up, but I don't know if, yes, savor is and flavor are very similar in both meaning and spelling. So wherewith shall it be salted? It is henceforth good for nothing, but is cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men. And it's kind of like eating bland food without no seasoning. And you know how Edomites like their food, bland. They don't like, but there's so much to say with this subject. And like I said, in the 90s and all through history and even in this present time, Jake, and I mentioned the 90s because Jake had magazines called Flavor Magazine. We got hip hop, like it's hip, like, you got to be hip to understand it. You got to be, fly to understand things. Some of those key words that we use in the 80s and 90s was an example of us being Israel. Because remember when Jacob was born, it said he should have the children born, Esau and Jacob, they were brothers, but they would have different mannerisms. So mannerisms is important. Customs and is important. So we had things, we had, artists named Slick Rick, like that's what Jake is. He's a supplanter. He's slick, he's slick talking. They have such thing as jive talking, Jacob trying to get over. That's what Jacob means, supplanter, Hebrew, and Yaiquab in Hebrew. So that plays characteristics, of who we are. Now, we're not, they even Esau, going back to that story, he said, isn't his name rightfully Jacob? He supplanted me 2 times. Esau, the accuser of our brethren, he was trying to point Jacob like he's an evil man. Now he's a wrong he's a wrongdoer. And that's what they do today. Call us thieves. And this dude, ain't they from the ghetto? Ain't they from, up to no good, hanging out and all that? So that story Esau and Jacob plays a very a very key part of what's happening today between the so-called white man, so-called black man, along with the rest of the tribes of Israel, including the so-called Native Americans and Latinos. I wanted to point this out also. They said we are peculiar people. Peculiar is unique or closely related, but do not mean it, but they're closely related. So it said we are peculiar people, strange. Like, we have a thing called slang, lingo, the way we dapped each other up, you know. Uh, we you could almost believe that we're from outer space, that we are aliens, and that kind of serves the truth, but not in a way that so-called white man taught it. We came, we are from them ships, what they call it, UFOs, which the Son of God is so-called black man, as well as the angels, as well as the tribes of Israel, as well as the women and the children. We're speckled birds, so we look like these other nations too. If our line goes back to Jacob, we are Jacob. But it's the core. And I wanted to play this Rick James, because we have extreme artists in the industry. A lot of times I use the music industry and artists for an example. You got Rick James, and I think they call him Slick. That's another word for in the place of Rick, Slick. You had who is that? Yeah, it's a group called New Edition, and one of the members is named Ricky, and they call him Slick. They've been calling him that as a nickname for as long as the group has been together. But I wanted to play a little bit of this, and it has no sound, so it's not for no monetary gain and money and all that. So, and then you have Prince. Then you have Michael Jackson. They're extreme. And then something else unique about us as artists. You got two blind artists and they play all kind of like Stevie Wonder. Rick Crazy. He plays he plays all kind of instruments, and he's blind. Same thing with Ray Charles. Playing on the piano, singing. They don't have that on their side. Give me one blind Edomite that knows how to play all kind of instruments, and Prince knows how to play all the instruments, write songs, and all that. So when you see those kind of characteristics, those talents and skills like that to the max, you be like, damn, that's Jake. Even if it's regarding basketball. Any sport or boxing, wrestling, whatever it has to do with just like Muhammad Ali, he says he's the greatest. Mike Tyson, and we can go on with just how skillful and peculiar Israel is. Even the church, what I'm saying, they be going off, but you could hear the church bumping down the street. They be rocking inside the church. It's really watered down now, filled with sodomites and whores. It didn't used to be that bad, in the 80s or whatever. I mean, everything gets worse, man, in time, especially if it's going down the drain like it has been. But you have these extreme characters of our people that people love to see. You had a whole Jackson family, like every one of them is talented. And then they try to put the Osmonds as a competitive marketing strategy and tool and saying, hey, yeah. But who knows? The Osmonds could have been Jake's too. I don't want to show too much of that. What else? It also says our women are lively right here. Exodus 1:19. And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and delivered ere the midwives come into them. And I look up that word lively. Got to do with same thing, so to speak, like salt. And I didn't even get to play the sound it out. I might get back to that, but where is it? Lively. So it's like we get the party rocking, you know what I'm saying? We get things, you know, like we got that slang word lit, you know, about to get lit.
2422.
Or the party was cracking, bumping, and yeah. And you know, we have our different slang words across the states, but they mean the same thing. It says vigor of life, vigorous, lively. You know, so if you have a concert and then you be like, you know, you might have Taylor Swift on there, you might have, you know, some of these other Edomite artists, but then when you have, you know, even some of the older groups, Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, you know what's going down. You know, Faith Evans and Mary J. Blige, but some of the new ones too. Those are kind of more the old ones, but some of the new ones, you know, Coco Jones and you know, what's that other woman's name? That's real popular now, and you know, and they rock out like we invented rock and roll. Like that's not that so-called white man stole everything. We rock out. Rick James, that's funk rock. That's mixed funk rock and we can get into jazz and neo soul. We cover all them boundaries, man. Even country, they got mad because who was that? Beyonce was doing country. Hell, we invented country music, man, and blues. You know, Aaron Neville, if I'm saying his name right. You know, like I said, I think even Garth Brooks is he might be a Gadite. I'm not sure though, but you know, and we always do it better. You know, we always do it better. Even the movies, everybody want to see us in the movies. Everybody want to see how the group like I mentioned, New Edition, and you know, after the Jacksons, they were the Jacksons of the 80s. You know, you had Carlos Santana, you know, and Sheila E., and which was a prodigy of Prince. You had Rick James and all his his group members, extended group members, Mary Jane girls and all that. It's just, you know, and so many other talents that's on the same level that really didn't get no shine, you know, because of whatever reason. But, you know, great voices, you know, like Whitney Houston, Anita Baker and all that. I mean, will blow the park out the water, you know what I'm saying? If that's a thing. They say it's some kind of way. But I mean, like, top level voices, man. And I've been listening to, like, you know, I gotta work, so they have the radio station playing. And these Edomites, they a lot of most of their songs is whack as hell, man. I think the last greatest era for Edomites was the 80s, where you had Berlin, and you had you had Billy Joe, and you had you know, Tears for Fears, and a lot of them other groups. Some of them might have been Jake. You had Queen, which is Jake's. And then I looked up. Now here's the thing too. Isaiah 3, and this is the curses of our women. And I'll start with 16, but I'll jump down. Because Isaiah 3 and 16, moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes. That's that attitude, man. Like the Antoinette attitude that, Method Man was talking about, with Method Man from Wu-Tang. They don't got that. The so-called the rats over there, the so-called Jews call themselves Jews. They don't have that. They don't have these, attributes, if you will, if they call them that, walking and mincing as they go, and walking and making and tinkling with their feet. And I'll show you a couple of pictures for an example. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover the secret part. Yeah, the hair, man. So-called white women have hair. They purposely cut their hair. No, this is supposed to be a curse against you, because women had their glory was their hair. This is something that you can't fight, but that was never a curse upon them. Now, if you drop down, it talks about the accessories that they have, like the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets. Our women wear bonnets today. The ornaments of legs, they had that today, and the headband and the tablets and the earrings. Our people are all into that kind of stuff, man. The rings and the nose jewels, who's known for that? Our people. And these nations are not lively, man. I've listened to East Indian music. They ain't not lively unless they're Jake. I've listened to Chinese music, even them singing. Some of them, those are Jakes over there. They be blowing like a motherfucker. Like being able to sing and have talent. A lot of them impersonate Michael Jackson over there, and they do a good job. Those are most likely Jakes, but they can't catch. They're not equal to us in bringing that flavor and that salt. They don't have any salt, no flavor. It says nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and whipples and all that, crisping pins and the glasses and the fine. But I want to show this picture right quick. This is something similar that, there's the bonnets right there. Those are the necklaces. Those are the bracelets. And these are Nigerians, which are our people. I forgot what the apostle said, that a lot of those Nigerians are Dominicans, I think. His change of apparel, and even when I took it back to Erykah Badu, she was on that too. When she first came out, here's a picture of her. She's on some fucking witchcraft now. Just deep, dark witch, there she is right here with the bracelets, the bonnet, necklaces, the rings. Just like I said, they're not like this, man. They're not like this. And this is our people as a whole. Like, our people are just naturally like this. There's no gimmick. Even if we change styles, like even on the West Coast with the khakis and the Dickies, we made that popular. Dickies used to be some pants that you work in. And then they started advertising, this devil started advertising as sport wear. I mean, something that you go out and wear for a date or whatever. But those were working pants. Same thing with jeans. I think I just found out, I'm gonna do a little bit more research, that the Native American made jeans. The jeans that people wear every day. And, so many more. Jill Scott is another one. She had that same eccentric aura. They called it neo soul back in the 90s. She had the afro. Back in the 90s where we wore the peace medallions and all that. Those are look at the big earrings. I mean, when it talks about earrings, it talks about something that's out there, like it's noticeable. That's why the Most High say He's going to take it away, because we became prideful in that. But we're the people that's marked with embroidery and sophistication and flavor and suits. I remember the zoot suits back in the 80s, I think it was. Even the Mexicans in their style with the the cholos and all that, how they dress, the flannels, the open up, the flannel button up with the open shirt and in the khakis or everything we touch, we flavor it. We add it becomes a flavor. It becomes a market for these devils, because it's just the people who we are, And you can see she got fringes. The Native Americans, when they wore their garments, they had fringes on their garments. We've done videos about that. Even this, Native Americans at the powwow. And can't tell me we not the people. Look at that. Look at the designs of these costumes, man. We creative. We the most creative people. We're the form of all things, like it says in the scriptures, man. Look at these fringes of the Native American. You gonna tell me we not the people of God? They're not one of the tribes of Israel? You devils, man. Y'all, yeah, man. Most High is gonna expose you devils completely. That you have no talent, no skill. You're not the children of Israel. No, what do you call it? None of the curses and none of the blessings, the salt, the flavor doesn't apply to you at all, in no sense at all. Look at this. And our people are beautiful, man. Our skin tone, Look at this young child. And he got fringes at the bottom of it. You don't see like a lot of Native Americans like just jumping at the fact that we Israelites, but they have the culture and they have pieces of what was left after they destroyed us, man. Look at the headband, Look at the embroidery of everything, Man, y'all ain't touching us, man. We those people, man. Like the brothers Zakar and Elder Zakar in L.A., we them boys, man. Elder Zakar in L.A., man. We them boys. Look at that, man. Can't tell us we not the people and shit. Y'all up there running around fucking goats and rabbits and shit and dogs and experimenting on weird ass shit. Meanwhile, we love being us, our culture and everything. And then y'all want to try to intervene and be a part of it. They wanted to be the Native American. They wanted to be the Negroes. Why y'all get tans and all that? And then at the same time, back then when they try to help, wanted to help Zerubbabel build the temple along with Joshua and Zerubbabel was King David. And King David said, nah. Zerubbabel said, nah, you don't have nothing to do with us building a temple to our God. And they got mad just like they do now. If you don't want to hang out with them no more or don't want to be around them no more, they get mad as hell. But yet, they the people that hate us, hate our guts. Some weird-ass people, man. Y'all some weird-ass people. You Edomites, man. We don't give a fuck. Do what you do, man. As evil doers, do what you do, man. Whatever y'all gonna do, man. Y'all weird ass fuck boys though. You know, trying to mix what do you call it, robots with humans and shit, weird ass shit, strange flesh. Anyway, and they took the money and took the gold and the resource from Native Americans and pretended they were Native Americans, even after the land rush. But anyway, I didn't want to make this too long, man. We the peculiar people, we the special people, and they said we above all people on the planet Earth, man. All people above the earth. Above all nations are upon the earth, a peculiar people unto himself. Those people, you don't think that people that he's chosen got to do with mannerisms? Because it talks about Jacob and Esau, the two most important people of the book, that they would have different mannerisms, man. It said you shall know a man by his gait, his mannerisms. You know what he's about, his life story. What But yeah. Anyway, hope it's edifying to the next video. Shalom.